welcome to this Phoenix First Impressions video. So, Phoenix has been released today, so let's have a quick few first impressions about the new medic on the block. So what can I say? Well, he's quite fast to play. I think I imagined him to be a little bit slower, but pleasantly surprised to find him quite a fast class. And as such, that Hotchfur SMG kinda suits his style in some ways. So he's quite fast, but he's only got 100 HP. So he's a little bit squishy as well. But obviously he has that self-heal ability as well, which we'll come to a little bit later. So he's got a decent weapon spread, has the Crotchney, has the Keck 10 as well. All well-known guns. No new weapons with him so far, which is slightly disappointing, I guess. But yeah, a decent weapon selection, I'd say. I think he's quite a cool character. I think his accent works well. And I'd say he's just the right amount of psychopath as well. He sounds pleasantly unhinged. So I'd say his abilities are slightly a mixed bag. His revive paddles, exactly as you expect. The self-revive is useful in some situations, though maybe not as many as you imagine. After all, it doesn't work if you're gibbed, so if a player, which many do now, just have it as muscle memory to go and gib a down player, then you can't self-revive. But in a situation where like a sniper's hit you, he can't hit you again, you can revive yourself. But it's got a fairly big cooldown on that self-revive as well. So the healing pulse itself, it feels like it should be quite powerful, but the way it works kind of sets against that in some ways. It's radius based, so if you want to heal someone else, you have to check who's going to be inside of that radius. And that's not easy in like a fast-paced game. You can see how fast people are moving around on the screen now. The radius, when you're in it, feels quite small, but then when you see someone else use it, it kind of looks quite large, the radius. It's quite tough to sort of judge quite who's going to be hit by this. Also, the pulse itself is like a one-time thing. It's not like Aura's healing station, where the longer you stand inside that area, the more health you take. It just hits everyone all in a oneer. So if you see one team member particularly needs health, and you're trying to hit them, and then they move and you move at the same time, and then you miss them with the healing pulse, your cooldown's now active, and you can't really heal them again until that cooldown has expired. So then you hit this other problem where even small amounts of use of the healing pulse really does impact the cooldown you get. So even a small burst of healing pulse will give you maybe like a 5-7 second cooldown, which doesn't sound so bad in theory, but when you're actually in practice, you bump into that cooldown quite a lot. I find it quite frustrating sometimes. Compare that to someone like Sawbones and his healing potential. You can throw multiple packs down at a time, they do quite a lot of healing themselves, but also he has multiple opportunities to sort of burn that cooldown away. And I know Sawbones is like the default medic, but it's hard to imagine a situation where you go, you know what, I'll prefer Phoenix over Sawbones. That being said, if you're a kind of selfish medic, that is, you play Sawbones to heal yourself rather than others, then I'd say Phoenix kinda suits your style. I'd say at the moment he needs a little bit less cooldown on smaller amounts of healing pulse, and some better indication of who's going to be hit by this healing pulse. Maybe have that pulse work over a couple of seconds rather than just have it be a one-time thing. So yeah, I said he's a sort of selfish medic, which is kind of an odd notion, although if you look into his character and backstory, it kind of fits into that quite well. I'm kind of conflicted. I like how it fits in with him, but the actual utility of it is a little bit difficult. So, am I glad I spent 50,000 credits on Phoenix? Well, I'd say he's not immediately as useful as someone like Sawbones, but I don't know about you, I get a bit bored of playing Sawbones 24/7 if you want to play medic. So he's got a bit of resilience, not as much as Mr. Bones, but he's still an interesting character to play. He's got that extra speed, he's got access to things like the Keck 10, which is obviously a huge plus, and that Hotchfur as well, it's good fun to use, he's got the incredibly high rate of fire. Yeah, I can see me playing him in the future. For matchmaking, when I really need to make the difference, I guess Mr. S Bones is going to be the way for some time to come. So, although I said we're looking at Phoenix, why don't we look at some of the other things in the patch as well? There's some cool stuff, I'll link the patch notes below. We've got things like cheaper and slightly less RNG ways of buying cases if that's your thing. Private matches, they have the first pass of that, so that's worth checking out. I know a lot of people have been crying out for that. Player reporting is finally coming, which is good. What's on the screen at the moment is CSGO style weapon inspects. Yeah, checking out how your weapon looks in game. And I know some people will just not care about this at all, but to me it kind of makes the whole world feel more real. You're looking at the scale of the object that you're meant to be sort of carrying. Things like the blish lock especially. I didn't realize how big they are. It's kind of cool, I quite like it, but perhaps more interestingly, it points towards more skins and weapon stuff in the future. So if you look at the way CSGO deals with skins, really quite complicated, really quite high resolution. Hopefully we've got some cool cosmetic things coming up in the future. So thank you very much for watching this Phoenix First Impressions video. If you liked it, why not leave me some feedback? Hit that thumb button, leave me a comment, and if you really liked it, why not press that subscribe button as well. If you have any comments or questions, please scroll down to the comment section below and type angrily into the keyboard. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I'm at LCTRGames, and I'll see you next time. Take care.